Hi guys, welcome to day 3 of Sourdough Starter. Brianna here from her Pretend Baking show on Homes and Souls. And if you haven't seen days 1 or 2, check out this link here. You'll want to watch those first. If not, let's get started. Remember that second jar that I had you guys grab yesterday? Well, I left something important out. You should cover it and put it in the fridge ideally. But don't worry, if you didn't, it's probably totally fine. So, if you happen to see any black liquid on top, that's called hooch. It means your sourdough starter is hungry. Just pour that down the drain, and you can add some more discard to it today, and it'll be totally happy. Cover it, put it in the fridge. However, if you are seeing that on your actual starter, your starter may be hungry. Congratulations, you have another mouth to feed. So what that means is, now that we're on day 3, you may need to bump your feedings up to twice per day, every 12 hours, give or take. And that really just depends on your environment, how warm it is. I'm in the Northeast, so it's kind of cold here. So my starter doesn't really have a whole bunch going on just yet. No bubbles really. You may, I don't. It does, however, have a little bit of a sweet but sour aroma. You may be experiencing that as well. So here goes. Uncovering the discard jar. And we're going to do the same thing as yesterday. We are going to remove approximately half of the starter and put it into the discard jar. Why do we do this? Well, if we didn't, you would end up with a really large starter, and that may be what you want, but you would have to be feeding it a lot more. So for example, yesterday, if we didn't take any out, the 1 cup that we had total between flour and water from day 1, we would have had to feed with 1 cup flour and 1 cup water. And you can imagine, if you do the math, that that's going to add up really quickly. So, all right, I've removed half, and now I'm feeding it again with half a cup of flour of your choosing. I'm doing gluten-free, but this works for all different types of flours. Half a cup of filtered water. Give it a good stir. Oops, a little bit of spillage there. Give it a good stir. We are going for a thick pancake or waffle batter type consistency. So if you don't have that, you may need to tweak your water or flour accordingly, little bits at a time. It's going to depend on the type of flour you're using, and again, how warm your environment is as to how much you're going to need. Also, gluten-free flours tend to absorb water differently. So I've been adding just a splash of extra water here and there if it's not quite the consistency I'm looking for. And that's it. I'm going to wipe this, cover it back up, stick the discard jar in the fridge. The reason we do that is because the refrigeration halts the fermentation process. Because what's actually happening here is there's a symbiotic relationship between the yeast and the naturally occurring lactic acid bacteria that's naturally in our environments. That is what is reacting with one another and feeding off of one another to create the fermentation process, which is what we're after. So there you have it. I will see you again tomorrow for day 4 of Sourdough Starter. Bye, everyone.